Hey gun people, want to go over different ways I did these stocks a lot. There's a lot of videos out there on what to use on these stocks when you get the AK stocks, because the wood is pretty usually weathered and beaten and has a lot of grime and hand usage, and I mean, unless you buy brand new wood or plastic for your AKs, the wood that comes with it looks pretty bad. But with a little bit of effort here and assistance from people that know more than I do about wood, basically all I did to these grips is do a little sanding and a little coating. So I decided to show what it looks like and the difference between it. Now all these woods pretty much look the same when I got them. This one happened to be a little bit more red. It's got these numbers here. If some AK guru knows what those numbers mean. But this had that what's called a Russian red on these grips, and it was kind of weathered, and I didn't take a whole bunch off it. I think I just used 4/0 steel wool, kind of rubbed it down to where it was nice smooth to the touch, and then wiped it off with a cloth, and then put a couple of coats of this polyurethane, and I put that on with a brush. Some people will use a paper towel and use the paper towel as a brush, fold it like it's flat like a brush, then dip it in there and just paint with a paper towel. Some people say you get a better thing with that, but basically I just wanted some sort of wood protection on here so moisture and everything wouldn't get in there, the wood wouldn't weather, and it would protect the look of the wood so it wouldn't fade, etc. So those grips, basically a light sanding, and didn't want to take too much color off in polyurethane. Now these grips were really bad. I had to do quite a bit of sanding. Almost all three look different in color and different in usage. So I didn't put any stain, nothing. I just sanded this down with some 1000-watt sandpaper, not 1000-watt, 1000 grit sandpaper, and some 4/0 steel wool, and rubbed it down, got it nice and smooth. And after I got it down to just the straight blonde wood, I put maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 coats. I don't remember how many coats I put on, but you know, you put a coat on, you let it dry for a few hours. It says dries within, I think, 2 hours. I let it dry at least double what it says, so I think I went every 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, and put another coat. So that's how that wood turned out, and that's just basically a sanding on the regular old AK wood and putting some coats of polyurethane. On this wood, they usually, the pistols comes with a grip. On that wood right there, I did a light sanding to get off any coating or any discoloration from some of the old lacquer and everything. And then I put some of this wood stain, this cherry wood stain, traditional cherry. I guess I should move that back just a little bit so you can read that. And it was really light. This wood was hard, it didn't absorb it. So I didn't like how light it was, and I wanted it darker. So I went and got some of this shoe polish for like maroon shoes. Let me spin that so you can see it's kiwi. And so I just rubbed some shoe polish on there and wiped it off, and it gave it a nice sheen. I figured it would protect it. If I don't like the way that holds up over time, then I may sand it down and do a deeper polishing, but that light cherry was just too light. It was almost a lot lighter than that. You notice the wood kind of looks like the picture? Well, that's not what it looked like when I stained this. And I put a couple coats, wiped it off, and the difference between stain and dye, to get this red color over here, I think they're using dye. And I guess dye goes deeper into the wood, and stain sets more on top of the wood, and it only goes in a little bit. So it doesn't penetrate as deep as dye. Somebody told me if you want real good furniture dye, you have to get it specially ordered, and that dye will do it. Other people on the internet are saying use RIT clothing dye. It's a water base. You put it on there, you can't wipe it off, and then you put some coats on it. So this doesn't have any coating, yet that shoe polish brought it up to a pretty nice waxy shine. It makes it nice and smooth. I'll see how that, I buffed it out, let it dry, and that's on top of the stain. So I'll see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, then I'll sand it down and redo it. And then this last one I used this, what color is that? Sedona red stain. And again, the first coat didn't do real good. And normally when you put on stain, you put on a coat and then you let it soak in, you wipe it off, and then you put on another coat. And again, stain doesn't absorb real deep into wood. So what I had to do is I put a heavy coat of stain on here, and then I didn't wipe it off. And I let it dry very thick. And then I was very careful when I handled it before I sprayed this spray-on poly. Now somebody told me this poly was better than that poly. A couple people at the paint store. This poly, they said if you just use straight polyurethane, it will yellow if it's set out in the sun a lot. UV doesn't have as good as UV. This one evidently they use on marine wood and boats because it's out in the sun and it won't yellow. And it's a spray-on, and I didn't want to use spray-on because I was thinking of spray-on paint like it drips, but this stuff actually sprays on a nice fluid flow and it worked really well. Paint store, that was $10.50. At Walmart it was $6.30. I was so pissed when I bought it at the paint store and then saw it at Walmart for $4 cheaper. So, and again, I think that's the semi-gloss. They have a lower satin, I think, but they do not make just straight gloss. This over here, I think, is a just a gloss. I can't remember. 3 times the coat. Well, maybe it doesn't say gloss or semi-gloss, but I want it glossy because I wanted that sheen. And so anyway, those are the 3 ways that I did my wood. I kind of like the red on this one. That's Sedona red, but again, I had to, and although it shows it looks like the wood there, man, it doesn't look that way unless you put it on heavy and don't dry it. So on all my stain, I used a piece of a t-shirt. I just cut off a corner of a t-shirt, used that cotton, and I didn't use a brush for the stain. I rubbed it in against the grain, with the grain, around in circles, etc. And then on the last top coat, I just used a nice soaked little piece of t-shirt and just rubbed it on there very nice, and it kind of melted around, and then it dried. And again, because it's a top coat, if you handle it or put fingerprints, you will rub it off. So once you handle it, only handle it on the inside, because I didn't really care what the inside got messed up. Only handle it on the inside, set it on a box, and then spray it with this stuff. And it seemed to put a nice coat. I like the way the gun came out. I'll show you a different little angle here so you can kind of see all of them. So that's the Sedona red. That's the cherry with shoe polish. I know people are going to laugh at me. He put shoe polish on wood, that idiot. This is just straight polyurethane on bare wood. Just sanded it down to bare wood. And that one just a very light sanding with double aught. Kept the original wood color and then just put a coat of polyurethane. So a lot of different suggestions out there on the internet. Figured I'd put mine out, show you what it looked like, and you can make your own decisions. Hope that helps. We'll end it there.